Hi, how are you today? I got another story about Annabella's adventures. This one today is about Annabella is going to Elfred the elf's village for a special occasion, and she and Buttercup are really curious because they don't know what it's about. So when they arrived at the village, she was met by Mia Mouse is over here. Mia Mouse, where are you? Mia Mouse, there she is. Oh, Mia Mouse and Sir Grasshopper. He's up here, and everybody else was just was. We're so glad to see her. Annabella wanted to know. She had heard that Alfred supposedly was going to get married, but she never thought that he would be giving up being a bachelor. But it was time that he would thought he better settle down. They It seems like Mia Mouse told Annabella that Alfred was looking for his long lost friend Elfatina, which is she's Elfatina. They grew up together, and he was always looking for her, and he thought maybe someday that he would marry her. But you know how things are, you look for people and maybe you find them and maybe you're not. And they had heard that the troll Yogar the troll, he always is doing something in the village. He took Alfretina, she held her for ransom because when her parents were crossing over his bridge, they didn't have any money, so they had to give up their little girl so they could cross over the bridge, and eventually they thought, well, we'll come back and get her. The Mrs. Ogar, the troll's wife, she didn't agree of this, and she knew that he was in charge of the bridge and it was his rules, and he made all the rules. So Mia kept telling Annabelle that Alfred was looking for her for years and years and years, and finally they thought, well, they'll go look for her. And one day they had to cross over the bridge because they heard that Elfatina was in the next village, and they didn't want to deal with the old one. That's what they called the troll Ogar. And she said that he wanted to call on you, Annabella. Alfred wanted to call on Annabella, but he didn't want to bother her. Well, now getting back to the story, excuse me, how he found Elfatina. She was sitting on the bridge and she was crying. At first, he didn't recognize her because it had been over 10 years since he had seen her, and you know, you change your looks. So Alfred went to pay the toll. Then suddenly he recognized that it was Elfatina, his little friend, which she's grown up now. And he said, oh, I'm so glad I found you. He said, now I'm going to take you back to stay with me and Mass because I have an important question to ask you. Is that okay? The little elves reached Mia Mouse's house, and they had a celebration because they found Elfatina. Elfatina was so curious what the question was that Alfred was going to ask her. And so she saw Alfred talking to Sir Grasshopper. He had all kind of things, and he had a store, I guess, and he had rings with him. So Alfred took him aside and started to pick out a ring. And so he picked out the ring, and everybody got really curious. Then he took Elfatina aside and he showed her the ring and wanted to marry her. Oh, she started to cry. She cried a lot. All the elves always cry. So she wiped her tears and she said yes, but there's one exception. she says, I'm going to return the ring that you gave me. Now, Elfred didn't know what to think. He was puzzled. Why don't you want this ring? Then Elfatina looked at him and she chuckled. Then she said to him, uh, she said, wait. She said, just wait. And she had a ribbon around her neck, and on the ribbon was an acorn ring that Elfred had made for her when they were children. Elfred started to cry. Everybody cries in Mia Mouse. Here we go again. She said, I've never seen so many people cry so much. So Elfatina told Mia that we have a wedding. Elfatina and Mia got together, and Annabella, and they said, oh, we got a wedding to plan, so let's get busy. So Annabella and Buttercup had to help them cook, because Mia Mouse is a really good cook, and she made the cakes, and here's one of the cakes. It's so teeny for little elves. That's one of her cakes. And there's another cake. They're so little because they're little people. And so they were baking cakes and everything. And now they had to go to the town hall to meet with the mayor. He was a justice of the peace, and he did everything in the village. So they had to go see him, and then they had to have a wedding gown made. So prior to that, they went to the sewing shop and had the little elf bears, I call them, to make her dress for the wedding. And this is kind of involved because they're all like a little village. So they got married, and then everybody had a great celebration, and then they lived happily ever after. So never give up on trying to find your lost loves. And no matter how many years, you can find them. And hopefully they'll remember you, and they might have something that you had given them many, many years ago. Your little, if you have a memory box, just put everything in there over the years, you know, just whatever you think is going to be a good memory to you, and you pass it on to your children. And that's the story of Elfred the elf and Elfatina getting married. And have a great day. Thank you.